Hey there, I am going to be talking about the readings for our bi-weekly synthesis assignment number 3. So I'll jump right into the first article called Social Dominance and Intergroup Theory of Social Hierarchy and Oppression. This article starts off talking about how discrimination and violence and oppression are really all just part of the human condition. It's something that we see on a daily basis in our human lives. Um, I really liked learning about the authoritarian personality theory. So, this was thought to be brought on by parenting style, so teaching children to behave in a derogatory way toward those that might be lower than them. So, creating really racist, xenophobic, and ethnocentric personalities. And I think this, really kind of shows a lot about what's going on in today's world. People are so afraid of things that are uncertain and foreign to them, that these anxieties make people create a senseful world so that they can view the world as safe and feel like they're valuable and they're right. And then this definitely ties into how stereotypes are brought on. So, to finish my thought on stereotypes, we know that stereotypes are brought on a lot of times from a really young age, and they're more so learned from your environment. So, the example that the book or the article gave was that a child sees that all janitors, he grows up in a school where the janitor is always a colored person. So, he associates colored people with having a lower class job. So, moving on to the next article called Implicit Social Cognition, Attitudes, Self Esteem, and Stereotypes. This article explains how social behavior might actually occur based on unconscious biases and beliefs that might actually just have been learned unknowingly by individuals. So, once again, kind of growing up in an environment maybe where different social behaviors occur, you're learning that automatically. That's just your environment. So, an example of this could be implicit gender and race stereotyping. So, there was an example from the article that said that essays were judged more favorably, I'm assuming in a contest, when attributed to authors with male rather than female names, which shows what is called trait priming. So, this happens subconsciously due to your experience and interactions with certain names and traits. So you might associate a more male name or a more female name with certain traits. So I thought that was really interesting because that's something that happens automatically. And we see that with gender as well. So maybe more males are associated with being strong leaders, have a more leadership type of role, where women are seen as more of the submissive, compassionate, gentle caregivers. So, the third article, called The Police Officer's Dilemma, is explaining a situation with a police officer and a black man. The police officers thought that he was reaching in his pocket to grab a gun, so they shot him. We've seen this occur in so many situations where black men and men of color, even women of color, like Breonna Taylor, have been killed at little to no threat to police officers. So, this article is looking at studies where they recreated police officers kind of get in this simulation to decide if they're going to shoot or not shoot based on a quick reaction time for seeing the suspect. And they're examining in this article how race might have played a role in these type of decisions. It's really interesting because this article explains how stereotypes act as a schema in our minds. Schema or schema? Schema. In our minds for quickly organizing information and acting. So these schemas can influence how people behave. If it's an automatic stereotype, it could influence how your mind automatically reacts to certain situations. So most importantly, showing that stereotypes, especially negative stereotyping and gender and race stereotyping, is so, so, so harmful for society and for our minds. So, one of the last articles called The Role of the Media in Body Image Concerns Among Women, a meta analysis of experimental and correlational studies, is examining research on the idea that negative body image in women may actually be linked to viewing social media, which portrays super ideal body types and what people think should be perfect or right. Um, a statistic from this article said that approximately 50% of girls and undergraduate women report being dissatisfied with their bodies. And this was taken from two studies, Bierman et al. 2006 and Monteith 1997. And the fact that that is the statistic 10, 20 years ago, I just like can't even imagine with social media today what that might look like, because I know that it has increased over time. And this is harmful because it's not just causing a dissatisfaction with your body, it's leading to more problems such as mental health disorders, anxiety, depression, and even eating disorders, and potential suicide. Um, so I really like the author's prescription of media literacy and teaching girls and young women, everybody really, to be cautious on the internet, to be more active in fighting what they see and standing up against kind of these negative images that you see every day that you don't think about, but you're subconsciously being exposed to people who are photoshopped and fake, and it's harmful for your mind to see that that's what's supposed to be when it's totally unrealistic. So the final article, called The Neglected 5%, is probably my favorite article from these 2 weeks. So this is centered around the fact that a lot of psychology and social psychology research studies on humans are centered around American people and weird civilizations, the weird culture, Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic? Maybe. I think that's right. And they're not generalized to many different other cultures of the world. So these cultures that are not being researched are the neglected 5%. So this author is really arguing for a push in representation of the whole entire human race, which I cannot agree more with. We know there's major differences in the United States and how we act as a culture in other countries, and that's everything, but things like income, healthcare, education, so different. So yeah, journals really should reach for more researchers of other cultures. The article was recommending that, as well as non-American editors and other authors should be included in special issues. And another recommendation was to make it more accessible for foreign authors to prepare and submit journals to these associations. So I thought this was really interesting. Yeah. And that wraps up my bi-weekly synthesis assignment number 3. Thank you.